Peter Dutton is standing firmly by Australia's deportation policies as New Zealand's Prime Minister prepares to raise the controversial laws with Scott Morrison today.
Andrea Crothers joins us live now. And Andrea, Jacinda Ardern says the policy is having a corrosive effect on the country's relationship.
That's right, Laura. In 2014, changes to Australia's immigration policy mandated the cancellation of visas for anyone sentenced to 12 months or more based on character. Now, this change has mostly affected New Zealanders. We had about 800 New Zealand criminals deported from Australia last year, and Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has long objected the policy. She's currently in Melbourne. She was meeting with business leaders and the Premier yesterday. Today is Scott Morrison's turn. It'll be the pair's first meeting since they came together at the New Zealand terror attacks, and also the first meeting since the re-election of the coalition government. Now, Ms Ardern has made it quite clear that she will be raising this controversial deportation policy today.
There are a number of areas where it will be completely legitimate for a New Zealand citizen to be deported back to New Zealand if they engage in criminal activity. But we have seen cases where there is also almost no connection of an individual to New Zealand who had been deported. I consider that to be a corrosive part of that policy, and it's having a corrosive effect on our relationship. So I'll continue.
Affairs Minister Peter Dutton has responded. He insists that these are criminals and believes that Australians stand by the stance.
Well, I can understand the view in New Zealand, but from our perspective, from the Australian perspective as well, we need to stand up for Australians, and the New Zealand Prime Minister is rightly doing that for her people. But where we've got Australian citizens who are falling victim in certain circumstances where people are sexually offending against children, for example, we've had a big push to try and deport those pedophiles and people that have committed those crimes, and I believe strongly that the Australian people would support that stance.
Now, Ms Ardern is also expected to raise access to citizenship with Scott Morrison, as well as talk about trade and terrorism. Laura.